versus programming language. Many people often do not know the difference between scripting language and programming language and use the terms interchangeably. They might sound familiar but are quite different from each other. We all know that programming languages are a string of instructions given to the computer to get a task done. But then what is scripting language? This is a confusion that looms in the minds of many people. If you are looking for an answer to this question, this video has the answers for you. So without further wait, let's start the session. But before we begin the session, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you'll never miss any update from us.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video by Intellipaat. But before we begin, do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates from us. In this video, I will be elaborating on scripting language versus programming language. But before jumping to the agenda, I would like to introduce some terms that are used ahead in the video. First one is compiler. A compiler is a computer program that translates source code written in some high-level language into machine-level language, and then the execution takes place. The next term is interpreter. This computer program executes the source code without any need of compilation. Now let's take a quick look at the agenda. Firstly, we'll see what is a scripting language. Then we'll move on to most popular scripting languages, the pros and cons. Then we'll see what are programming languages, some of the popular programming languages, pros and cons. And lastly, we will see scripting language versus programming language. With that, let's move on to our first agenda, that is, what is a scripting language? Scripting language is a computer language that does not require compilation and is instead interpreted one line at a time during runtime. Scripting languages, unlike programming languages, do not compile the file before running it. Instead, they execute the file without being compiled. They are frequently used to create dynamic web applications nowadays. The two types of scripting languages are server-side scripting languages and client-side scripting languages. Server-side scripting languages include Python, PHP, and Perl, whereas client-side scripting languages include JavaScript and Perl. The objective of these languages is to frequently communicate with other programming languages. With that, let's move on to our next agenda, that is the most popular scripting languages. Firstly, we have Bash. It is a programming language that is used as the default command interpreter on most Linux systems and is available on a wide range of operating systems. Creating scripts with Bash is significantly easier than other scripting languages. It keeps documentation for others to use, specifies the tools and command line code to use, and provides reusable scripts. Next, we have Ruby. It is a scripting and object-oriented programming language that allows programmers to construct cutting-edge software. It was founded in the year 1993 and it excels at web development. Ruby has the same characteristics as languages like Python, Perl, and Smalltalk. Next, we have Node.js. It is an open source and cross-platform framework for developing network applications. Although it is not a programming language that reads and writes files on the computer or server or handles networking, it does use JavaScript as its primary programming interface. Yahoo, Netflix, PayPal, IBM, Microsoft, and even LinkedIn are among the companies that employ Node.js for real-time web applications. Next, we have Python. It is an object-oriented programming language that has become the most popular among developers in recent years. It is straightforward and easily understood. It's a dynamically semantic language with a massive amount of scripted code. It comes with built-in high-level data structures, making it simple to use and ideal for rapid application development. By allowing modules and packages, it promotes code reuse and program modularity. Next up, we'll talk about Perl. It is a scripting and dynamic programming language with unique capabilities. These characteristics distinguish it from other languages. It was created by Larry Wall in the year 1987 and is compatible with all Linux and Windows servers. Perl is commonly used on high-traffic websites such as IMDb and Priceline.com, and it also aids in text manipulation course. With that, we'll move on to our next agenda, that is the pros and cons. First, we'll discuss the pros, and the first pro right here is easy to learn. A basic understanding of web technologies is not required to learn scripting languages. As a result, these languages allow users to quickly learn code. Next, we have quick editing. It is especially efficient since it uses a small number of data structures and variables. Next, we have interactive. It facilitates the addition of combination and visual interfaces to make web pages more dynamic. Modern websites necessitate the use of scripting languages. It has background and foreground colors, among other things, to aid in the creation of better web pages. Lastly, we have functionality. Scripting languages include libraries that aid in the creation of new web apps. They differ from traditional programming languages. Now let's take a look at the cons. It allows users to read and code content that may be restricted by some businesses. These languages do not compile and understand the file immediately. Therefore, users must first install an interpreter or a second application before running the script. In some instances, scripting languages may be slower than compiled languages. With that, we'll move on to our next agenda, that is, what are programming languages? Programming languages are the instruments that we employ to write computer instructions. Binary, that is, sequences of ones and zeros, is how computers think. Programming languages enable us to convert ones and zeros into something humans can comprehend and write. A programming language is made up of a set of symbols that act as a translator, allowing humans to convert their thoughts into computer instructions. Now let's take a look at some of the most popular programming languages. Firstly, we have Python. It is a general purpose programming language with a lot of flexibility. It is a wonderful first language to learn and can be utilized in a range of industries, from data science and machine learning to web development. Next, we have Java, another wonderful language for beginners. Java can be used for a variety of things, including mobile apps, software development, and large-scale system development. Java is now used to teach AP Computer Science. Next, we have JavaScript. It is a front-end and back-end friendly language that can be used to create web applications, games, and mobile apps. Moving further, we have C#. It is a popular programming language from Microsoft that can be used for a wide range of applications, including game development, enterprise software, video games, mobile apps, and more. Then we have C++. It is a strong programming language that is utilized in a variety of fields, including virtual reality, software and game development, robotics, and scientific computing. Lastly, we have PHP. It is a popular server-side programming language. If you want to create dynamic web applications, it is an excellent choice because it works well with databases and HTML. Now we move on to our next agenda, that is the pros and cons. The pros are right here. The majority of programming languages are compatible with a range of operating systems, including Windows, Linux, and Mac. They usually have good compatibility with all the cloud services. From the start, programming languages are designed with quick compilation in mind. Now let's take a look at the cons. Generics are not present in many programming languages. Not every programming language is adaptable. Because some programming languages are open source and the source code is widely accessible, they are not very safe. Anyone may read and reuse code written in languages like JavaScript. Now let's move on to our last agenda, that is scripting language versus programming language. Although all scripting languages are programming languages, scripting languages differ in that they directly interpret files rather than requiring compilation. A program written in a scripting language like PHP or JavaScript, for example, does not need to be compiled before running, whereas a C program does. Compiler programs run faster than interpreted programs because they are translated to native machine code before execution. The interpreter reads and analyzes code statements as they are encountered, and if any errors are found, it encounters them and halts at that moment, whereas the compiler reads and analyzes the code only once and shows the code's defects. In actuality, the distinction between scraping, that is scripting, and programming languages is blurring because to modern hardware's better calculation capabilities and advanced coding approaches. Now let's take a quick look at all the differences. Scripting languages are based on the interpreter, while programming languages are based on the compiler. Scripting languages are used to put together existing parts, while for programming languages, they are for developing from the ground up. Scripting languages are dependent on the software and runs within it, while programming languages work without the help of a parent program. The job of scripting languages is to translate high-level commands into machine language, whereas programming languages convert the entire program into machine code at once. For scripting languages, it is not necessary to compile the file before running it, but for programming languages, it is completely necessary to first compile the file. Scripting languages have no extension, whereas programming languages have an .exe extension. For scripting languages, it lacks data types, graphic design, and user interface design, as well as minimal support, whereas for programming languages, graphic design, data formats, and user interface design are all well supported. Scripting languages are simple to write and utilize. Whereas programming languages, it is challenging to use and write. Scripting languages require a host, whereas for programming languages, they do not require a host because it is self-contained. Scripting languages, they require very little to no upkeep, that is maintenance. Whereas programming languages, they require a lot of maintenance, that is upkeep. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for regular updates.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in software engineering, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification program on software engineering and application development by E&ICT Council of IIT Guwahati. And it is taught by IIT Guwahati professors and industry experts. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job.